Ladies and gentlemen, in today's video, we are going to go over some brand new information regarding the Max Payne remakes, as well as go over the potential announcement date and the potential new release date. So a month ago or so, Remedy had their Q3 2025 financial report in which the company announced some big changes and updates on their upcoming projects, which includes the Max Payne remakes as well. So firstly, the CEO of Remedy had resigned recently, possibly due to having a very bad financial year, contributed by the failure of FBC Firebreak and potentially Alan Wake 2 not being a very nice commercial success. Their revenue has decreased from 32% compared to the previous report, which is really bad. So you can see that they're in a really bad state, which could affect the release date of their next projects. Now, before we get further, let's talk about what we know about the Max Payne remakes. We did pretty much know, and that I covered in my last video, that Max Payne remakes, based on what Remedy has said, that they need generally 2 years to produce a game and then 6 months of beta testing. It was going to release more than likely in early 2026. And at this point of time, the Max Payne remakes have been pretty much in full production for 16 months now. Possibly, the Max Payne remakes are being built off of Alan Wake 2, along with having a similar $70 million budget, which is lower than the budget of Max Payne 3 being $105 million, higher than the budget of the Max Payne movie being $35 million, higher than Max Payne 1's budget potentially being $3 million, and higher than Max Payne 2's budget potentially being $8 million. This is a remake of the first two games, remember that. So, with the money being spent here, it seems to be very ambitious, combined with the fact that Rockstar is publishing it, funding it, and providing assistance to Remedy with the remakes. Max Payne 1 and Max Payne 2 are going to be remade and bundled into a single game, which may be called something. Now, let's go over what they said in the financial report. Majority of our effort goes into working with our established franchises, Control and Alan Wake. We're focused on working on the Max Payne 1 and 2 remakes with Rockstar Games. So this basically reinforces the fact that they're deep into the Max Payne remakes. Moving with what they have said before, that they need 2 years to produce a game and then 6 months to beta test it, it seems very likely that the Max Payne remakes are going to come out before the end of 2026 and potentially is going to release before the half of 2026. Now, due to the climate of how things have turned out, I don't think the Max Payne remakes will come out early 2026. I think they will come out in mid-2026. But before the half of 2026. So potentially before May 2026 and potentially between February to May. So in between that, the Max Payne remakes are more than likely to come out based on what we have seen. But now, when does it get announced? Seeing how Remedy is pretty good with Jeff Keighley and the Game Awards making yearly appearances there, it would be highly safe to say that the Max Payne remakes get announced at the Game Awards on December 11th, 2025. The potential is there, but that's not all. Even if we do not get any information or announcement of the Max Payne remakes at the Game Awards, we're bound to get something new from Remedy at their financial report of Q4 2025, which would more than likely happen in early 2026. To reinforce our before the half of 2026 release date for Max Payne remakes, Remedy has also said that before the end of 2027, they're pushing to double the profits from 2024 before the end of 2027. Now, looking at their current projects, they have around 4 projects going around. The post-launch support for FBC Firebreak, a new unannounced experimental IP that is potentially years away, Control 2, which has been in full production for a while now, less than the full production months of Max Payne remakes, and of course, the Max Payne remakes being in full production for 16 months. So, looking at how things are, Control 2 is more than likely bound to come out in 2027, but that won't be enough to double the profits from 2024. That's why the Max Payne remake coming out in early to mid 2026 would provide a much larger boost to that. But now, wait, that doesn't make sense. It could come out in late 2026 as well, right? But remember, Max Payne remakes are being published by Rockstar Games, the same guys who are going to release a behemoth called Grand Theft Auto 6 at the end of 2026. So I don't think that they'll release Max Payne remakes in the same window as GTA 6. So it makes perfect sense for the Max Payne remakes to come out before the half of 2026, though they won't touch the window of GTA 6, and they'll provide a boost to Remedy's financial goal, as well as Rockstar's, of course. I personally do think that the Max Payne remakes are going to release in mid-2026 rather than early 2026 based on what we talked in my last video, all because of the recent stuff that Remedy has going on. It just makes sense for them to kind of give the game a few more months in the oven. Well, at the end of the day, I hope that the remake is going to be awesome and is a faithful remake. And since they're bundling two games into one, I hope they don't charge extra for it. I think the studio Remedy being Remedy, the game is more than likely going to be $60 to $70 unless Rockstar decides to play a hand. Then it could be $100, maybe $80. Who knows? I think it would be better if the game was just $60 or $70. $60 would just provide a big boost for the game to be sold more efficiently. Though, I do see a potential for the Max Payne remakes to be delayed to 2027 only because of the recent issues that Remedy has been having. It could open a window for a 2027 release, most likely, again, because they would like to avoid touching the window of late 2026 with GTA 6. But thankfully for us, the chances of that being potentially likable are very low. So we're in a good territory right now. And for those people who may be thinking that these remakes are going to spark interest in the franchise again and potentially greenlit another game in the franchise, unfortunately, I don't think this franchise has a future aside from the remakes, mainly because Max Payne 3 has concluded the story. There basically is no sense for Max Payne 4 to exist or Max Payne 3 to get remade because, well, that game isn't that old. So if you're hoping that these remakes will ignite an interest in Remedy and Rockstar to make a Max Payne 4, unfortunately, I don't think that would be possible. Well, until the writers decide that it will be. But the chances of that being real are going to be very, very low. Well, that is it for today, guys. Hope you guys found this video interesting. If you did, consider subscribing. So I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching and goodbye.